friend, beloved God. Nothing he can't do for you, and nothing he won't do for you. If you know him, make his acquaintance. So remember, from that holy vibration, the light, the Master used to speak of it, the light beyond the atoms, from that Divine Mother all things have come. So God can be personal or impersonal. Now let us take up the two aspects, personal or impersonal. First, personal. Remember, as I have said, from the Holy Ghost, the holy vibration, the light, all things have come. Now we as human beings, we like to see form. We like to see things because our consciousness is used to that. Therefore, we like to see visions of the instruments of God, the great saints, Jesus, the masters, and our own master. We like to see them that way because we're used to them that way. We like to have God respond by intuitional experiences. I'll give you one or two in a moment. So as human beings, we are apt to want God to appear in a personal aspect. And this, of course, he can do. A little illustration. I'll have to give you one or two personal illustrations. I hope you'll pardon my personal reference, but all I can tell you, if I'm honest with you, is what I've experienced. And that I want to do. I was coming out to meet the Master. I used to come twice a year. This time I was coming out arranging my practice. And by the time I got through arranging all the troubles of the people, you know, they have many, see. By the time I got ready to start, I was done, finished. So I got in the train, got in the room, and I didn't really feel I could make it. I was so exhausted. We shouldn't say in SRF we're tired. I just needed rest. But I needed it, I'll say that much. So there I was, and I really felt, well, I don't know whether I can make this. So I closed my eyes, as the Master always said, remember, when you're in the Christ Center, the Kutester, nothing can touch you. Automatically I looked there, and there in the little light, in the light came a little saint sitting. Looking down, you know, let's just say, why worry? Everything is all right. And I felt everything would be right. Now, isn't that a personal response of God? Wouldn't you say God's personal aspect responded to me? Yes. Another time comes to my mind, going home from the office. I was exhausted, and there on the street in front of me was the spiritual eye going along. That's the response of God personally through intuition. Everything you see through the spiritual light, the astral light within, is an intuitional experience. So God responded in a personal way to me. Another time I was passing through a terrific test, and as usual, never forget to look here. Give it to God. He won't fail you. And as I looked there, came a little in gold, perfect little figure of one of our masters sitting there cross-legged. Doesn't God respond personally? I'll say he does. So God can be, remember, personal or impersonal. Whatever you need, whatever you really want, he will be that for you. Why not? He is everything. His omniscience is everything. There's no place you can go but there he is. But we cannot seem to get out of the delusion of separation from him. That's what we must do. I'll give you one more illustration of the personal aspect of God, and this is the greatest. Because, as the Master said on this, about this one thing, it is the only time it has happened as it did in this plane or cycle in which we find ourselves. The Master had an ecstasy back in 1948 or 49 at Mount Washington. There were several of us there. In that ecstasy, he talked to Divine Mother. And Divine Mother took his voice and used it. His voice was different. It sounded entirely different. And they went around and round through the spiritual realm. And then finally, Divine Mother taking his voice, talked to several of us personally, directly. Don't you think that's a personal aspect of God? These things are true. So God can be anything to you that you want, personal or impersonable. The thing is, know Him. Realize God is. Then He will give you whatever you want according to your oneness with Him. Realize He is all things. So God can be personal without question of a doubt. I have to hurry along. I could give you details of the Master's ecstasy, but sufficient to say, God spoke personally through Divine Mother taking the Master's voice. His voice changed. Entirely different. It was the strangest thing. I didn't mind until He came to me. He came to me, then I said, oh, I hope I'm all right. But by the grace of God, I was satisfied. So God is a very wonderful, wonderful, wonderful force and being, especially when you follow the channel He has sent, the channel of the beloved Master, who manifests Christ consciousness. I would not have had these experiences alone. It's only by the grace of God through the Master. Now let us go on to the impersonal aspect. God is the Holy Ghost, can do all things because in that Holy Ghost is the intelligence of God. That's the thing we can hardly understand. We think if we're going to light a light, we have to have two wires leading the electricity there. We do on this plane. But God, through the Holy Ghost, can do all things because His intelligence is there. And remember, God is what? Omniscient plus the power of that omniscience. Now God can come to us in an impersonal way. I remember one illustration which will help you a little bit. And in saying this about the impersonal phase of God's existence, it is closer and nearer to you than when He comes as a vision. Because in the vision you've got a little part of God's omniscience, haven't you? But when you feel Him in an impersonal way, as the great cosmic consciousness of God in creation, the Christ consciousness, plus the power of that, you are very close to God until finally you merge in Him. So the impersonal aspect of God is very, very important.